KY3's Paul Adler and photographer Tim Limecooler were near the Grand Canyon, where they found a town that feels like the Old West.
Welcome to Williams, everybody.
Williams, Arizona is not too far from the Grand Canyon. Not too far from the interstate.
Ain't nobody gonna stop me!
But it came pretty close to losing the gunfight for all these visitors.
This gunslinger, known as Snake Eyes. Williams was the last town bypassed by I-40. And when they opened up the last stretch of I-40 out here, Williams and all these small towns along Route 66 almost dried up.
A couple years after Route 66 travelers switched gears to the superhighway, the train rolled back into town. Longtime residents watched the tourists come back too.
It brought a lot of stuff back with it and a lot of, interest in the town because they come in at a time when they have the restaurants and the shootout.
About 50 miles north of Route 66, the Grand Canyon. It can be up to 18 miles wide and a mile deep. And when they're done with nature's fireworks, there's always time for a good old-fashioned shoot 'em up in a town with plenty of bang-bang left in it. And we have plenty of drive to do. We've got to make it to Tucumcari, New Mexico tonight. That's our next stop as we make our way back for that big festival in the birthplace of Route 66, Springfield, Missouri.
Well, he's a man known around the world for saving a 160-mile stretch of Route 66.
KY3's Paul Adler introduces us to the Angel of Seligman, Arizona.
Good morning. Route 66 could have been gone, forgotten, and rusting like this sign here, but one guy had an idea to call it Historic Route 66, and he kept the route alive.
Cheese, cheese, cheese.
Known around the world as the mayor of Route 66.
It's a dream for us.
Angel Delgadillo is like a movie star, facing paparazzi.
Geez, that they call me that doesn't make me who I am not. I'm just Angel. It's a lost art.
Angel isn't just a mayor and a star.
We leave all that on. We leave it.
He's a barber, an artist with the razor.
Have you ever been shaved by a barber?
It took a fight to gain fame.
No?
No, it's the first.
First time?
Mm-hmm. Only for you.
Wow, you ain't got nothing over me. This is my second time.
Angel grew up on Route 66. Started his business here in 1950.
I can't run him off. I remember that day, September 22nd.
Then 100 miles of interstate opened up, wiped Seligman off the map. They didn't even put up signs on the interstate for Seligman.
People don't know what it is to be forgotten for not 10 days, 10 weeks, 10 months. I'm talking 10 long years. And our government told the world the end of an era. It doesn't exist anymore. I said, baloney, here it is right here.
Angel petitioned the state, let's make 66 historic 66. The state said no, but Angel would not throw in the towel.
My makeup is of not giving up. So when the state ignored us, we just stayed right on them. The letters kept going.
Angel won big. 66 came back as historic Route 66. He opened the route's first gift shop, and it hasn't been the same since.
It seems like the world was looking for this to happen.
And you know what they say, when in Seligman, you gotta get a shave.
Yeah, you're gonna get the full 9 yards. Sharp razor.
Uh-oh. Any trouble spots?
No, you don't have any lumps, bumps, or humps.
If you're ever in town, slow down, pull over. Ask for Angel. You won't regret it.
Here we come. Now, you told me that your name is Paul?
Paul.
Not anymore. It's Mr. Babyface, like the butt of a newborn baby. If you don't believe me, check it yourself.
Ta-da!
Check it yourself. Go ahead.
Holy. That's the best shave I've ever had in my life. There's an oasis in the New Mexico desert, a real one. This one attracts scuba divers like bees to honey.
It's just a perfect place.
Jim Gore and Cindy Nielsen drove 100 miles to dive the Blue Hole.
I like water, and I like being underwater and swimming.
It's on her bucket list.
And Cindy's bucket list has a hole in it. It's more than 80 feet deep, and it's connected to a vast system of underground caves. In other words, perfect for people who want to dive in a pretty dry state.
There's a lot of diving groups from Colorado that come down here because Colorado doesn't have a certification area that's as nice as this.
Here's the weird thing. This water is so clear. Those divers down there, they look like they're about 2 or 3 feet down. They're actually 20 feet underwater.
You put your face in the water and you can see 80 feet down, and you're just like, whoa.
It's very close to weightless. You know, once you get everything balanced out, you're basically weightless. All the little aches and pains that you have, you know, your back, your joints, all of that pain goes away for me.
This round, blue, clear slice of heaven sits just off an old section of Route 66, a surprise on the Mother Road. Kind of like the one you get when you jump in.
It's really cold.
It's very cold, but it's a nice day for diving.
It's our KY3 road trip along historic Route 66. Getting closer to home. Texas tonight, Oklahoma tomorrow morning.
KY3's Paul Adler and photographer Tim Limecooler have stayed at several different places on the Mother Road. Right now, our intrepid travelers are in Conway, Texas, with more about the motels they saw along the way. Take it, Paul.
In Conway, Texas, and this is a strip of the Mother Road right here in Conway. And right behind me, an old mom-and-pop gas station that did not make it, obviously, when the interstate came through. A lot of businesses, we've seen a lot of gas stations along the Mother Road, old Route 66, that look like that. But not all businesses went that way. Some are thriving.
Not the chain stuff.
This group of friends is traveling the route. When they stop, they're not seeking out the Ritz. They want nostalgia.
Oh, I thought it was so cute. I thought it was so cute. It was so nice. Like our room right here is it was very clean, but it was older, but it was a lot of fun.
The friends from New York, part of a movement of road warriors checking in nightly.
We've found that people really like to come here because of the retro historic feel that we have and that we've tried to continue to have. We haven't changed the property much from what it was originally. So we've got the neon lights, we've got the metal chairs outside, which we hope will foster a community. People really enjoy that. They enjoy taking a step back into yesteryear.
The Blue Swallow here is unique, but not alone. There are other classic motels along the route that have been saved, and they're thriving. In Rialto, California, Kumar Patel's wigwam is kitschy cool.
Preserving it for the travelers was the key, you know, and then over the years falling in love with Route 66 and the family from here to Chicago is just absolutely amazing.
Over in Needles, California, Rosie Ramos chased off the weekly renters at FENDER'S. She's welcoming travelers back.
I have awesome visitors. We just had 2 couples from Australia that just checked out that are traveling Route 66, and we get tons of Europeans that come through traveling the route, and they really love it here because we're the only motel on Route 66 and the Colorado River.
If you want room service and servers and tuxes, this is not for you.
There's no grass growing underneath our tires.
If you want to step back in time, you got to check in if you want to check it out.
It's kind of like Oasis stop.
It's not the kind of place with a gas station on every corner. There's not even a corner here. There's Roy's, where the honorary sheriff pumps gas.
There you go.
And the owner does not gouge travelers on 66 for a bottle of water.
It's not even a moneymaker at all.
This truly is a service. The only gas for miles around out here in the California desert. They close at 8 o'clock, but if you get here after 8, check this out. All you have to do is call, and they'll come and open up the station just for you. Roy's is in Amboy. The town used to have a working motel, a school, a grocery store, sitting just outside a dormant volcano, railroad tracks, and a salt mine. But Amboy refused to die, like other towns that turned to dust when the interstate opened up in the early 70s.
The next day when the interstate was open, he says you could go to sleep on the highway. This is the only surviving town of everything around us.
It's surviving thanks to Albert Okura. He made his money selling rotisserie chicken. The town could have faced the bulldozer in 2007, but he bought the whole thing for $425,000.
And it's a living ghost town. It's not even functioning and everything, but more and more people are going.
So Albert hired a guy with a love for Route 66 written all over him. Charlie is now city manager of a town with a population of 4, and a lot of visitors like Dennis and Sue Hauk from Mountain Home.
I don't know if it'll ever come back as a real thriving business, but it's nice to see that somebody is at least keeping this gas station open for those emergencies sometimes.
Thank you for coming in and reopening and keeping this little bit of history, alive.
Someday, Charlie and Albert would like to open that motel back up, but the town needs a water system, and that would mean selling a whole flock of rotisserie chicken.
To me, it's important to bring it back to life.
For now, it has life as the ghost town that ain't dead yet.
A special road trip is underway right now, all along the most famous stretch of highway in these United States.
KY3's Paul Adler and photographer Tim Limecooler are traveling Route 66 from Santa Monica, California, to back here to Springfield, and they're going to join us tonight from near San Bernardino. Paul, what's going on?
Are we there yet? This has been my life today. This book, it's a turn-by-turn instruction on Route 66. And, when I started researching Route 66 about a month and a half ago, I discovered it's not one piece anymore. It's broken up. You have to make turns, and you're going to get lost. I'll confess. We got lost just a couple minutes ago. But before we got lost, we were able to find the first location of McDonald's. And let's take a look at that story and what we found out. The guy behind the wheel can't tell you how many served, but he will tell you his restaurants sell 7 tons of chicken each week.
I have the exact right product.
So what's a chicken guy doing with hamburger history? It's simple. Albert Okura appreciates innovation.
And Ray Kroc, he's an entrepreneur. He's my idol. I want to be like him. The brothers were the Henry Ford of the fast food business, because I want to show people that these are historical.
Richard Mack McDonald opened a barbecue joint here in the 40s. That's the menu. In 1948, they switched to burgers. By the 90s, the original building, gone, forgotten. A second building here in foreclosure. Albert saw opportunity.
And so when the opportunity came to buy this property, I jumped.
You jumped?
I jumped because I found in my business, you snooze, you lose.
Now, the little museum attracts people from all over the world.
I found out this was here and thought we'll come in here instead and see where it all happened.
If you're asking, what's the price of admission? Well, it's right here on the door. It's free.
And so I'm treating people the way I would want to treat myself or my friends.
It's not a place where you can get a Happy Meal anymore, but if you like history, you might just leave with a smile. Albert Okura also owns an entire town out in the California desert on Route 66. We visited the town in the desert. Very hot, and it's the ghost town that ain't dead yet. And we're going to tell you about that at 6 o'clock. Thanks for joining us. Let me turn this around real quick. Oh, I hit it too many times. It's bumpy on this section. That's what we're seeing right now. We'll send it back to you.
All right, guys, have fun. Be careful. Paul, you should get back to navigating so you guys don't get lost again. KY3's Paul Adler's on the road this week, driving historic Route 66 from California to Springfield all week long, and making sure to take time to hit those historic and legendary Route 66 spots. Tonight, we find him near Seligman, Arizona. Paul?
This is a legendary spot in Arizona. This is Angel Delgadillo's Barbershop. Right back here is a Will Rogers Award as one of the founders of the Arizona Route 66 Association. This man's loved around the world. Check this out. My job is keeping faces clean, and nobody knows the stubble I've seen. Burma shave. A German woman made this for Angel. He is one of the fathers of the historic Route 66. We're going to tell you a lot more about that coming up. Right now, an attack of the burros in another classic town on the route, Oatman, Arizona.
Oatman, was a mining camp, and it's managed to survive. Our biggest tourist draw is the burros. There are our permanent residents here year-round. We have a herd about 150 that's in the area. Tornado. Enough. And about 20 to 25 actually come into town and get fed by the tourists. So we have a couple mamas that have brand new babies, about 3 of them. This particular one here, her name is Tornado, and her little girl is Ida. We make sure that they are taken care of.
And what's the name of this one I'm feeding right now?
This one is, I think, Elmo.
Elmo?
Yes, this one's Elmo. We get a lot of tourism. We get people from all over the world, and we're really happy to see the Europeans here and everybody from the United States. There's a big kick about Route 66. So,
boy, everybody knows the food is out. Look at this.
Yeah.
We have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11. We got 14 of them.
Yes. Like I said, there's a herd about 20 to 25, up to 30 that actually have second and third generation and have grown up getting fed by tourists. Okay, Main Street.
And one more thing, Rick. Oatman is alive.
Yes.
Today.
Yes.
It's not like a lot of Route 66 towns that died and withered away.
No, we've been able to stay alive. We're the longest uninterrupted section of Route 66 still in existence.
Wow.
So we're exactly 25 miles from the interstate and about 27 from the interstate from the other direction in Kingman. And so we're right in the middle.
Before we go, I'm going to mention that you own the New Diggins gift shop here, besides being the fire chief.
Yes.
Rick, I want to thank you for joining us.
You're welcome.
And,
thank you guys for coming out and taking a little time to recognize our community and our residents.
Our crew traveling Route 66 from California to Springfield is getting a little closer now to the Ozarks, but still stopping to see some of the good sights all along the way.
KY3's Paul Adler and photographer Tim Limecooler are live from Amarillo, Texas tonight.
This is the big Texan. It's famous along Route 66. Take a look at the big Texan here. You want to know why it's famous? Take a look at this billboard right up here. 72-ounce steak is free. You get a free dinner, but you have to eat that 72-ounce steak in 1 hour. How big is a 72-ounce steak? Folks, it is this size. I went in and measured it with this T-shirt. I can tell you it is not this thick. It is thicker than that. And the Big Texan is just one of the icons in the Amarillo area. Cadillac Ranch here, 10 Cadillacs from the late 40s to the early 60s. This is an art installation commissioned by a local millionaire back in 1974, and it's a mecca for Route 66 travelers. These are positioned, we're told, at the same angle as the Great Pyramids in Egypt. And if you come here, you do 2 things. You bring spray paint, which we brought, and you also bring boots, which we forgot. So Christopher, Nika, and Mom are going to help us with a little art project of our own. People from all over the country come here to paint on these Cadillacs. You might find messages like Viva la France, August 2015, Bud was here, Jamie loves Susie. Or you might find something like this. And you know what? If that KY3 on that Cadillac lasts for 24 hours, cross your fingers. We're lucky. Most messages don't last all that long here. So we have our fingers crossed. We're hoping that the KY3 stays there for at least 24 hours, and then somebody else will come along, paint their own message. Here at the Big Texan, no, I didn't need a 72-ounce steak. We don't have time. We got to get on the road. We got to get back to Springfield by tomorrow. We're going to lead a little bitty parade there at 5 o'clock. I'm talking kind of like a Texan because I'm in Texas. I'm going to send it back to you.
Sounds great. Thanks, Paul.
You got to eat the gristle and all. That's the key.
I have seen that on television. I think they were wise to get back on the road. Celebrating the birthplace of Route 66. Good evening, I'm Lisa Rose. The Birthplace of Route 66 Festival is underway right now, honoring the history and the culture of the Mother Road and its birth, where it got its name, right here in Springfield, Missouri. Live team coverage starting with KY3's Paul Adler along what was Route 66 and is now St. Louis Street. And Paul has just driven in from
And we're
Santa
kicking
Monica.
off the birthplace of Route 66 Festival in the parade. The parade is rolling down St. Louis right now, and we just got back.
You know what? We drove 3,700 miles, and they said, get in the car. They said, get in the car. After 3,700 miles, we traveled from Springfield out to Santa Monica by car, came back all along the Mother Road. And here's the most surprising thing. This is one thing people have been asking me. What's the most surprising thing you learned on the trip? And I learned that traveling the Mother Road is a bit like, well, you better have a map book and you better have a navigator, because it's not easy. It's not easy to stay on the Mother Road, because it's not like hopping out there on the interstate and you just get on the interstate and go until you find an exit ramp. On the Mother Road, it's cut up into sections. Some of it's alive. Some of it has great businesses alive. Other parts of it, dirt. We were on a dirt section. We were on another section with, I think, 6-foot deep potholes.
Yeah.
And Tim is here right next to me. We both went 3,700 miles. He's driving the car. And this, I must point out, is not the vehicle we took out to the desert. Tim, what is this?
Well, this car used to belong to my grandfather. It was a 1964 Chevrolet Corvair, and I took it over 13 years ago and kind of brought it back to life a little bit. And it's my pride and joy, and I thought it should be driven in the parade when we got home along with all the other guys.
And Tim, one of your favorite parts of Route 66, I think I know, but I'm just going to put it in the form of a question. What was your favorite part of the trip?
When we met Angel, the barber,
Delgadillo
in Seligman, Arizona, he is an amazing person, and he's the reason that really all of this is happening. He brought Route 66 back to life almost single-handedly.
Because he had the idea of calling it Historic Route 66, and his town out there in Arizona was cut off when the interstate came through I-40, and he fought the state of Arizona to get that historic designation for Historic 66, and that really led to the rebirth. And one other thing we noticed out there on the road, we noticed more people from other countries, I think, than Americans.
Yes, oh, definitely. The Europeans, the French, the Italians, the Spanish.
All kinds of people. We noticed people from Australia, too, and they come and they stay in these little motels. They visit all these roadside attractions that were there in the heyday of Route 66 to pull people off the road, get them to stop and get them to spend some money and, you know, have some fun and take a break. It's an interesting way to travel, more fun than going down the interstate, I got to tell you that. And Ron is going to give you the weather, but Ron, you missed out on this trip.
Yeah, I can tell, Paul. I mean,